I don't know about you, but I wanted to start 2026 with a 5-star thriller, which is what really feeds my reading soul. And I found it, and I want to share it with you. But it does come with a little bit background on this author and how I'm glad I gave it a second chance. Now, the book I'm going to be reviewing today is called My Husband's Wife by Alice Finney, and it will be released on January 20th. And I was able to receive an ARC not only of the ebook but also the audiobook, and I have to say I'm ordering both for the library. If you remember, I was sitting here last year talking trash about her previous book that was called Beautiful Ugly. If you look at Goodreads, it's not one of the best books, or it's not rated as one of her best books. Now, I didn't think I liked the writing. I didn't think I liked the story itself. It was a lot to be in this one person's head. And at the end, the ending was outrageous. Now, when I saw the premise for My Husband's Wife, I was like, I need to give this author one more chance and prove me wrong, because the kind of premise she comes up with is so out there, but it really scratches my itch and the brain for a thriller or a mystery book. This is a story of Eden, who goes out on a run. She recently moved to this small beach town, super recently. And when she comes back home, the key won't open her front door. And there's a girl or a lady inside saying that her name is Eden. And that's her husband. And she's like, "Ma'am, I was here before my run. I know that's my husband. And you're not me." I love that kind of premise because I'm like, okay, how is the author gonna come up with something that will make sense for this scenario? And even though you do have to suspend your disbelief in this book, it is not as wild as it was Beautiful Ugly. Now, I have to say that I had a great time. It is fast-paced. It always keeps you guessing and kind of steers you into so many directions of what really could be happening. But every single scenario I made up in my head wasn't really what was happening. I love the idea that everyone in this book was connected somehow to the main story. And also people knowing each other. You know, there's a little bit of a unreliable narrators in this story because there's different POVs, but I can put that aside if the story is interesting. And the story is so super interesting that I did not care for the unreliable narrator part of the story. Now, I typically don't like unlikable characters. And that's one of the things that I'm like, if I don't care about you, why would I read this book? It's like, okay, if you die, if you live, if you're happy, if you're unhappy, I don't really care for what happened to you as a character. So I typically don't get engaged in that kind of book. But in this case, even the unlikable characters were interesting enough that I wanted to know how everyone was connected to the main story. It also includes something that I typically don't like, which is a little bit of a police procedural, because there is an investigation, but the investigators are such a messy bunch, and you do know this as you're reading the story, that I didn't feel like, now I need a warrant for this and I need this for that, and I didn't feel like it was so procedural. It was a little bit of an investigation happening. Now, if you love audiobooks, I think you should listen to this audiobook because it does have special effects, and to me that really adds to the story. However, if you don't like audiobooks, I think you're still going to have a great time with the book because it's interesting enough and it's thrilling enough that will keep you engaged with the story. It's only 320 pages, and like I said, it's going to come out on January 20th. But if you were thinking about pre-ordering her book, or maybe if you want to put a hold in your local library, you could start now. Usually they already have the record there, or at least we do over here, and that way we know how many people will be waiting for the title. I cannot recommend this enough. If you're a thriller person, I think you'll have a good time. And again, if you didn't like Beautiful Ugly like I didn't last year, I still think you're gonna have a great time with this book. I know that I will be checking out from the library her books, his and hers. I want to read. I'm gonna give it a second go to Rock, Paper, Scissors, and there's one more of her books. I can't remember, but I'm going to check those out from the library, give them a go, and kind of see if I can chase that high that this book put in my brain. And now nothing that I read, I'm into another thriller from my personal TBR, my physical TBR. So I feel like it's still not scratching that itch. So it's amazing to find a 5-star book, but it's like, oh, how do you follow that? Like, you just want to feel that. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below if you're planning to read this book, if you read an arc, if you loved it, if you hated it. It's okay. We can all agree to disagree. We don't have to like the same things. But I would love to know your experience with this book. As of right now, if you go on Goodreads, it does have some pretty crazy up there reviews. 5-star most of the time, 4 stars. So I do think that this is one of her best books. And I hope it turns in one of the best books of 2026. Although I am hoping to read more books that will give me this feeling. Thank you so much for being here today. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe, like this video. I'll see you guys next time.